Johnson, and this is focused on Liberia. Hit it! From Kemau to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, ooh, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
All right. Oh, I thought our engineer was joining us. Jimmy, how you doing?
Yeah.
You almost there. You go.
It's good.
Go. Now I can see you. All right, Anthony, you got it.
Yes, Michael, I got this, and let us get this started.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Panelists.
And I am Anthony Sier. This is Focus on Liberia. Of course, this is our program On Point. Talking about On Point, we have the panelists and the discussants are all seated. Ready to roll is the man Jimmy Eastman, who is joining us always from the city of politics, Washington. Jimmy, how you doing? How's family?
Yeah, family is good. It's always good to be on this show. There are things we need to discuss. We need to evaluate so that we know the best way forward. Many things are happening in our country right now, and we seem to be repeating some of the ills of the past. So by us talking about it and exposing it, maybe we give our people an enlightenment so that we'll make the right decisions going forward.
That was
Glad to be here.
That was Jimmy Eastman joining us always from the nation's capital. J. Victor Nambwe, a progressive, is focused on Liberia political analyst. How you doing, CM man?
Hey, Mr. C, how you doing, Jimmy? Fellows, how are you? It's good to be here. Hope all is well with you and yours. And also, good afternoon, all. I guess in some cases, good morning to our audience. It's great to be here, as Jimmy said. Hopefully, we'll all contribute to the discourse and help to move the country forward. It's good to be here.
J. Victor Nambwe, my man, you came from Liberia like a few months ago, but you're still looking organic, my man.
No, actually, the last time I was there was in January. Yeah, so I think you probably came not too long ago than I was. But
Okay,
hey, I'm still enjoying LIB. It's all over me.
I know, right? Also here is the man Joseph Tao, my good friend Joe. He's a panelist here at On Point. Joe, how you doing? How's family?
I'm doing very good, and the family is doing good. And I just look forward to having being part of this discussion. And speaking on behalf of Mr. Gibman, Liberia is on fire. It's like a buffet line.
Okay, we also have the man Michael Palmo. Michael Palmo is joining us from the Twin Cities, just as I am, and then also Everett Morris. Michael, how you doing? How's family doing, brother?
I'm doing great. It's a good afternoon here from the state of more than 10,000 lakes. I always enjoy this time of the year in Minnesota because the weather is very Liberian-like. So it reminds me a lot about home. But I'm good. Family is good, and I'm ready to go.
Thank you. Everett Morris, how you doing? I heard you were not too well a few days. I said, now, how you doing?
Trying, I'm doing a little better. Yeah, but thank you for having me on. Let me just say this to yourself and this platform in general. I think we are seeing a rejuvenation of the platform. And kudos to Mr. Namwe and Mr. Eastman for hosting the last few shows throughout the week. I think they've done a good job. Mr. Namwe always kind of starts slow where he's hosting Judas and then he really gets into it. So we'd like to see that. And then to those who are watching and those who will watch later, there was a show, The New Day. I also want to commend the host of that show, Madam Priscilla Yanato. I think she's been doing a good job. The quality of the show has improved. The guest has been very, very good these last few shows. And the last show she had with Dr. Raquel Pillay, who clarified her oration during the 26 program, is a very, very great show. I recommend anybody who's watching now to watch it later or who will watch this show later to watch that show. I think is insightful. But thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And folks in cyberspace, we cannot invite you to join us to be part of the discussion this afternoon here. On the menu, we have the resident campaign or protest being talked about by the CDC. The CDC is saying they're going to resist this government on some of the things the government trying to do, especially talking about going after some members of the CDC. The CDC is saying it's going to resist the Unity Party. Also, we'll be looking at the US-Liberia relation. You understand there was the July 26th oration. There were a lot of things said and generated serious discussion in the country. But then in no time, we have a new U.S. ambassador now who is in the country. And during that July 26th program, the U.S. government delegation, walks out. I think that's the Sachet Affairs of Catherine Rodriguez. That should be the name. She walked out in protest for one of the things the orator said, that the U.S. has taken more from Liberia than Liberia has taken from the U.S. And I think another thing that annoyed her was that, hey, Liberia is not U.S. stepchild. I believe those things upset her and she walked out. And in no time, we had a U.S. new ambassador that presented his credentials to the president, Joseph Yamamboka. Looking at all this, how our relationship with the U.S. be or how it is now, and not also forgetting about what appears to be a serious crime that just took place concerning Liberia's national budget. After the budget was passed, there has been reports that there have been some alteration made to the budget. Numbers have been changed, some increase, some decrease, and we cannot tell who has made those changes. Whether it happened at the legislature or it happened at the executive branch of government, we don't know. Everybody pointing fingers. Yeah, that's the issues that we have on the menu. But gentlemen, let's get started right away. CDC is at it again. They are proficient when it comes to protest. And the CDC is not happy with the Unity Party government. They're not giving the Unity Party government any chance to breathe or settle down. They see a lot of errors, on the part of the Unity Party, and they see those things to be opportunity for them to pounce on, and they are acting in no time. Jimmy, you've been around. Let's talk politics. Is the CDC starting this fire on the Unity Party's back way too early without recognizing that Unity Party needs some time to get 8 feet and hit the ground running? Or this is politics? What's your take, Jimmy?
If we talking politics, no, they are starting from the jump. They're going to put to keep the heat up. They're going to put fire on the backs of the UP party throughout this administration. They're not going to get a chance because they are gunning to win back the authority in 2028. We can clearly see that the Unity Party has already made moves to remove certain CDC electees or nominated people for certain key positions. And so CDC is looking at this as an affront, a way to dislodge their people. In addition, we've seen investigations now going on, and they are claiming that they are being targeted, unjustly targeted and biasly targeted. And so they see the Unity Party moves as a direct challenge to them. So they're not going to, apparently they're not willing to just allow them to do anything. And, CDC is known for their multiple protests. We saw what happened during Ellen's administration. So this is one of their chief tools. So it's going to be hectic. We saw the other day that even rumor of a CDC protest brought out scores of paramilitary personnel. The police surrounded the compound, and they were all very visibly present to probably prepare or discourage any wrong actions from the CDC. So I think it's early for us to see this, but there are also signs that it's going to be quite hectic between the CDC and the UP throughout this 6-year tenure. I and other people like myself have been calling for calm, calling for the heads of these bodies to meet to discuss a way forward, as we want to avoid any sort of violence or anything like that. But if they don't allow, sober minds to prevail, we may see some disheartening things going on. I think President Weah has the power to negotiate for the CDC and dissuade members to do things that will be out of the way. But we got to get all of them on board, and we hope we see this in the near future.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thank you a lot. Mr. Namwe, some people are saying, we need to give the government a chance. The government is still formulating. As a matter of fact, the president continues to appoint people. And we're yet to see many sectors where appointments have not been made, like, for example, the foreign sector. So what's your take? Do you think this is too early for the CDC to be doing what it's doing right now? Or is it fair game?
You're muted.
You're still muted, Victor.
I'm sorry. No, I don't think it is too early for the CDC to come out and call out the government if they believe the government is going after bad actors selectively. I think that is the responsibility of the opposition to do that. And they may have some validity to the claim. There are a lot of other actors in this current government who have been reported on by the press. The Minister of State comes to mind as one of those. The president's chairperson comes to mind. The 300 something thousand dollars that was given to him, that was public money. The president has said nothing about it. And so the CDC does have a point. But what the CDC, I don't think, is right to do is to take on the streets and create chaos and make the country ungovernable. I think
let me hold you there for a second.
Yeah.
So you listen to a couple of things. You listen to three things. Take into the streets, create chaos,
Yes.
make the country ungovernable.
Yes.
What have you seen so far?
Well,
led you to believe that?
I believe Mr. Eastman alluded to that. We know that a few days ago, there were attempts by the CDC people to assemble at headquarters unauthorizedly. They had no permit to do that. The laws of the Republic of Liberia require you to get a permit. Yes, you're free to demonstrate, you're free to protest, but it has to be done in a manner prescribed by law. So if they gather and begin to tell this government they will resist, is the way it was being initiated seemed to be they were planning to resist the government physically. You can resist the government by your ideas, you can resist the government by putting forth alternative solutions and calling them out when they are working outside of the law. I think they have a right to do that. And as I indicated, yes, the president has a right to go after corrupt actors. But when the WEA government, the CDC came to government, John Muller reported that the predecessor government walked away with 1.23 billion. Ellen Johnson, they chose not to go after them. It doesn't mean the Bouaka government should not go after them. Any actor in the government space who takes away the people's resources, I think they should go after them. I don't care who they are. And so this president going after the bad actors from the WEA government, I don't think that's a bad thing. The only thing is he has to apply the law across the board. I think that's where the CDC does have a point. There are people in his government as well who are reportedly misbehaving and misappropriating people's resources. He should go after them as well. And I'm saying to you, I don't believe right now taking to the streets is the way to go. I think they need to give the government space to plant their feet on the ground. I repeat, and I maintain this, the government is just coming into being. They need to allow them to settle in and govern the country. They came to govern, not to be opposed from day one. They can oppose them, yes, by their ideas, but I think physical and demonstration in the streets without permits is the way to go. And I think, in my view, that is chaotic. And I don't think chaos is going to solve the problem.
Okay, all right. So we'll leave Mr. Namwe for a few minutes while he search in the law for that place where it gets say that you must get permit before you protest or before you seek redress from your government. So we'll allow Mr. Namwe to look for that. Maybe in the progressive bio.
Well, let me remind you, when the CPT wanted to do the retire campaign, what did we do? We got a permit, didn't we?
I'm asking you, I'm giving you opportunity to find it in the law where it says that Liberians must obtain a permit before they seek redress from the government. Elvin Morris, Mr. Namwe said something very, 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 very troubling. He said that the CDC, they plan on resisting, and then he put some words in there: chaos, ungovernable. You are an unabashed.
I would not say unabashed. I can be bashed.
You can be bashed. You have clearly stated that you support CDC and President Weah. President Weah did speak to the nation. Do you have the same sentiments that the CDC intends to make Liberia ungovernable? And what exactly does resistance mean?
All right, thank you. Look, Mr. Darwin knows I have a lot of respect for him, but I would disagree with him on a few points, more points than I would agree with him on. I think there was two laws that were violated the two constitutional laws that were violated against the CDC, partisans or sympathizers. One is the freedom to associate, right? Freedom of association. whether it's with a political entity or whatever. Those guys have a right to be at a political headquarters. They're free to associate with that political, with that political institution. Second is the freedom of assembly. They're allowed to assemble on a private, property, especially if it's one of a political entity like CDC. So trying to be, like the Minority Report where you can stop crime before it happens, there was no protest that was ongoing. That was, first of all, there wasn't an actual active protest. There was just an assembly of people. That is not against the law in any way. That you have to bring out, riot force to go and disperse them. Second of all, they weren't impeding anybody's movement. They weren't in the street doing any of those things that would be deemed illegal. So for Mr. Noah to say is disheartening to me because some of us remember that he was a part of the progressive, and I think that's his claim to fame, right? That he was agitating for some of these causes that we enjoy today in Liberia, and we all, uphold his likes and we revere them. Marcus Mafia and those guys at the time wasn't seeking permits, for agitation and for confronting the government. That's what the government wanted. And somebody like Mr. Nawa, I'm sure in his heyday would have resisted the very idea that we should come and gravel to you. Please, sir, let us protest. Please, sir, let us have this little piece of right. They agitated for it. They did everything that they needed to do. They gave flyers. They did all kinds of things to get people into action. But I guess those days it was more noble because the true way was saying as the big boogeyman, everybody was against them. But now when it's factional, we can be on one side or the other side. We want to look for little, pieces of evidence that support our side of it. But let me say this. And somebody's phone is ringing in the back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to the CDC action and what they're trying to do, I'm in favor of it, especially when it comes to quote-unquote resistance. There was key adjective that the president used politically. They will resist, whether it's going to be through bombastic rhetoric. They're going to resist. When it's going to be against somebody being apprehended and prosecuted, if they think it's unjustly or it's not being meted out evenly, they're going to resist it. They never said anything about resisting with force, because anytime people hear the word resist, they always think it's with force. Actions can be resisted, and it can be through political means or through other means. It doesn't only have to mean violence. So I think people misinterpret that word. And Mr. Namwe, for him to say that we have to give this government, he was campaigning against Joseph Boakai. On his very platform, we heard you articulate all of the reason why Joseph Boakai shouldn't be president. And now that he's president, it's not like he's been performing admirably. He's been, he's skirting the laws. He's been doing a lot of things to spit in the face of our Constitution. And many of us who sit on these platforms we're criticizing, and you yourself in that same vein. But I think your tone has changed a little bit since you met with the president. And you said, he's very smart, he's very articulate, he's on top of his game.
Wait, Mr. Morris, did you just say that Mr. Namwe met with the president?
Yeah, he met with the man, I think, in Atlanta, right? When he went there to go.
Wow.
Yeah, Mr. Namwe had a he called it a tete-a-tete, he talked to the man face to face, and it made him very sharp. He was praising him. So I don't know what the ulterior motive is, but I think he's changing his tone, which is fine. He's entitled to do that. But I think the CDC is well within their rights to protest and to counter this government on political issues. But I don't think we should use violence, especially when it comes to our country, our mindset and people's mindset. CDC, it may not happen right after the first time they do it, but it will culminate after successive time that they try to squash any protest from the CDC. That could culminate into widespread violence. So I think this government has to be careful. And if now they want people to have protests only with a permit, remember, I don't want to be too long. I've already been wrong with it. But when a few people died, the Angel Cooper who died in that business person compound, a few other people, the boys who got missing from Simosis, people got in the street and protested continuously. And they didn't have protests, permits. It happens all the time in our country, but once it's politically, then you have to follow the law to a T. When other people does it, whether it's for personal reasons or for pay, when the health worker want to strike, you think they ask for permit? Of course not. So Mr. Now let's not use double standards or even guarding into the realm of hypocrisy. Something that you yourself partook in your younger days without looking for permit or I try to do it by the letter of the law. Now you want other people to do it because maybe it goes against your political interest, if I could say that. But thank you for having me. I'll leave you there.
All right. So Mr. Tao, you're always a guy that rage against the system. We're talking about protests here. I remember not so long ago when members of the Unity Party joined other opposition to protest against the We Are government, and today they are saying that that's not good for the country, and people need to be patient. What say you?
Okay, so in the first place, I think we are mixing two completely different things up here. They're saying the question about whether they said that they should give the government time. Give the government time for what? Like when they're trying to protest for what? Because let we have to be realistic and we have to be honest with ourselves as Liberians. The former president was in the country when the Bouaka government tried to remove some 10 new people, right? Mm-hmm. And they went to court. It was nothing but protest. There was no violence used. We all pointed out the wrong of the government, and that's going on. We did not give no speech. There was no claim for them to want to protest or no intent. The moment there is a major corruption audit that is issued, that even the president himself could be entangled in, immediately he go and give a speech. Mm-hmm. That is nation of the state address, that then trying to use these kids just like every other politician, what is Bouaka, what is Ellen, what is him or whoever. And that is what we are seeing here. What the former president is trying to do is trying to use fear along with his party and the youth that nobody wants to invest in, that are idle. Yeah, that nobody wants to invest in, that are idle, and they want to force them to come on the street so that they can be able to protect them. This is what I'm seeing here. Okay? What really are they trying to protest about? We are Liberians. It's just like I agree with Mr. Namwe. It doesn't, yes, the process that they are using, want the process to be within the law. But if President Weah stole money, if Twe stole Liberian people money, the money don't belong to no political party. This is not a CDC thing. This is not. If these people really stole money, they should be held accountable. This stuff apply the law across the board. I don't understand what that means. So if you are there, Mr. Padmo, somebody came this morning and slapped you, and then another guy just came now and slapped you, and the police want to arrest the guy that slapped you just now, you are going to tell the police, no. This guy just slapped me 5 minutes ago, go and arrest the guy that slapped me 30 minutes ago. No, it doesn't matter where it starts. For me, what I see with this administration, I don't think they have the intention to really persecute anybody or to really investigate anything.
So Mr. Tao, let me ask you, right? Yeah. So last night, if I came and I slap you, and then this morning Anthony Gay came and slap you, and then the police arrive and they arrested Anthony Gay. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I'm okay with it. It's one of the people that slapped me. I'm not going to tell the police. I'm not going to tell the police, no, leave Anthony Gay. Why are you arresting him? Patmo slapped me first. The two people committed an act of violence against me. So wherever the police will stop.
Arrest both of them, not just one. One justice on both of them.
Mr. Morris, hold on.
No. So my point here is the government did not say, for me, I don't believe that the government is going to investigate anything. I think they're just trying to score some political point. But let's just for the sake of argument that the government actually serious. The government did not say that they're going to stop here. Let them go. The Weah administration said here before, they had the opportunity. They refused. People demonstrated, people complained when there was the misinformation about the Mekunde 25 million or 50 million in there. Ellen said he left over 100 million. Everybody was telling them, all of them. He refused. So you can't come back and blame this government for what he should have done.
All right.
So let them start with him. Let the God know what the former president is doing. He's trying to create fear to interfere and protect himself and his former officials in a possible corruption scandal.
Okay.
Okay, let's say, for example, before I just end,
Okay.
there is no such thing as the office of the first lady. We are came in there and created that as a budgetary office. $2 million a year in small Liberia for 12 years, for 6 years, that's $12 million. Those areas need to be audited. The lady went ahead, didn't have no money, were walking around here, went ahead and started building some stuff in Marshall. It was a first lady's project. The moment she saw that it lost, I saw the publication that she said everything that she did in Liberia, all the project was her own money that she raised, that those state money was in it. That's the kind of crime.
How can you audit a non-official government?
She handles state money.
For money, huh?
She handles state money.
But she's not a government official, though. Can you really audit her?
Yo, Mr. Pano,
I'm just asking. It's just a question.
No,
I believe
anybody who handles
that
public
is
money,
uncommon
Mr.
ground.
Pano, anyone who handles public money, whether it is a white man or a green man or a black man, should be audited. I don't think it has to be a government official.
Are there grounds to audit? I'm not saying they should not.
There are grounds. There are grounds. Public money that moved to you. $12 million in a small country like Liberia in 6 years. And
we're not
talking
first lady. We're not speaking morals.
Supposed to be first lady project. She is not saying that it is her personal project, and you say that she cannot be audited. Look,
I'm not saying she cannot be.
This brother received the same amount of money over 12 years. He's never been audited.
It doesn't matter. That is the point here.
All right. Okay. So let's move
the other
forward.
person here possibly stole, but because the other person is not audited, so the
Hey,
person.
Joseph Boga received that money as vice president, not as first lady. So
we first lady receiving money as first lady. What's wrong with that?
No, but there's provision in the Constitution for the vice president office. He's talking about the president's office. You're talking two different things, Morris.
The president submitted her office as in a budget, and the lawmakers put that money there. He didn't do anything illegal.
No. I don't think we're speaking on illegality here.
Right.
What we're really talking about is that is uncommon ground. Usually, what happens is that the vice president gets a certain amount of money from the government to handle certain places like the Group of 77 and all those things. What is uncommon is for the spouse of the president to receive budget allocations for certain things. And so that's why I'm asking the legal question that is it legal? Is she binding to even answer the GSC or the LACC if they come to her asking?
Money.
What?
It was illegal for her to receive budgetary funds, so that is where the crime was already being committed.
No,
so now if they chose,
but listen, if you receive public funds, there is the expectation that you will account for the money, and that therefore means you have to be audited. I don't understand.
That's why I said, and that's why I give you the example of Vice President Blanca. When you guys talking about public,
let's move on.
He was a public servant too.
All right, so let's move on to Anthony Gay.
But before you bring in Mr. Gay, if I may, a few seconds, because I know Mr. Morris challenged me. I know Article 17 of the Constitution provides for the free assembly to consult on the common good. I get that. But then there is also the 2015 National Police Act, which requires you, if you are assembling in a county, to notify the county attorney of that county that you are going to assemble for your own good, for your protection, and also to protect the citizenry. So it is still
you should notify them.
Yes, that is the permit to notify them.
And legality will ask you. You say request a permit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Have you guys established that they were going to protest? They didn't protest. They only assembled.
Oh, the CDC has a history. They have a history.
You see, there you go, and that's the point right there. They have a history. So you're trying to preempt. You're trying to preempt. You're taking preemptive actions, and that's not fair. That's what we're saying.
With the caskets.
All right, people from the Southeast, we're not going to do this here today, okay?
Relevant is a problem.
Man, we overwhelm you.
I'm going to the other Southeast club. Yeah. Mr. Gay. So there's the discussion here. For 6 years, the Liberian people basically begged Judge Weah to speak to them, to hold press conference, or to communicate with the Liberian people. He did everything but that. Now, in the shortest period of time, he has gone on a radio station and done an interview. He has gone out and done a press conference. All this is happening, and in the midst of resistance. So I'm asking, do you think it is too early we never heard Madame Sali speak the entire 6 years. Madame Sali, every time she was given an opportunity to give her opinion on how the state was being run, she stepped aside from that and she did not offer her opinion. In 6 months, we've seen President Weah is active. Is this too late? Is this too early? What say you?
So first and foremost, before I give my position on the whole thing, let me correct Mr. Nangbe here. Any act, resolution, or statute that does not align with the Constitution of Liberia, the Constitution is supreme over any statute or any recommendation or any act. So you just cited the Police Act. The Constitution of Liberia supersedes the Police Act. Anything that is an act, there is a statute, there is a resolution, they are all subject to the Constitution. That's why the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land. Case in point, perfect example, the Citizenship and Nationality Law of 1974, that act was squashed down by Article 28 of the Constitution of Liberia. So again, no Police Act, no resolution, no statute supersedes the Constitution of Liberia. So when the Justice Minister stated that they will not allow any unauthorized protest, he spoke out of context. You cannot be somebody who went to law school. I did not put my foot in law school, and I will not claim to be a lawyer for disclaimer's sake. But it tells me that he did not read the Liberian Constitution or use his own opinion. He was not citing the Constitution. Protests can be scheduled. Protests can be spontaneous. When Henry Costa was on his radio and said, Justino Taylor, life is under danger, I need help, people responded and she was rescued. That's protest, that's spontaneous. Look, when we talk about law abiding, that's why Article 90 of the Constitution of Liberia birthed the Code of Conduct. Whether or not you're a lawmaker, you're a regular citizen, you're elected official, guess what? You must abide by the Constitution. Yes, my problem, and yes, why I want to respectfully disagree with my senior brother and Mr. Tawo. The same Unity Party joined the famous June 7 protest, and they are today a beneficiary of that June 7 protest. They were in the street with the same.
The June 7 protesters got a permit, though. They got a permit. Musa didn't give them a permit.
No, they were never permitted.
No, the first one wasn't permitted. The second one was.
Okay, but the first, but here's the thing: the permit that they requested for security. They didn't again go to that permit that they requested. They request for the state to provide security. They didn't request permit because they wanted to protest. Two different things. All right. So here is the thing thing here. Even the WIA administration wanted to deny them. And Musa Dean, to his credit, said we cannot deny them this permit. We are obligated to provide security for everyone. Again, Article 19 of the Constitution, folks. It gave everyone the right to associate whatever political party you want to be, whatever thing you want to do with yourself. So I'm paraphrasing here. So we should not come here and try to twist and turn what is not in the law. However,
Mr. Gay, please, I beg you. This is a progressive. Okay, these are the people that birth protesting at Bureau.
These people,
ask you. President Weah has spoken twice
about
in the last 6 months. And in the last 6 years, he barely spoke to the Liberian people. We had to decipher his information through song and through sermon. Okay,
absolutely.
Now
so
he's speaking.
People say
is
you never value the well until it runs dry, right?
Go ahead.
You never appreciate the well until it runs dry. Eileen, of that award that she received, she cannot participate in political activities. That's the reason why she was abstaining. Almost a seasoned politician, she can say whatever she want to say if it best to, but what she has to lose right now, she's not seeking to come to the presidency. She enjoying her retirement age. She got that award. She's doing her women awareness thing. She's getting the recognition she needs in the world. What does she have to lose? That's the reason why she stay away, right? President Weah wants to come back to office. He never appreciated the well at the time until the water went dry. Then he said, "Oh, if I knew." I got multiple videos. If you go on Border Room, you type Anthony Gay and type video, you see me complaining, President Weah, speak to the nation. Right? But he couldn't do it at the time because they thought it was their time, according to VP Joy Howard Taylor. That our time here. Right? So that's what happened. Now that they, the reality are set in, they came here to come protest now. To the Bwaka administration, you cannot be committing corruptible act and want to fight corruption. Why are some of the corruptible acts that this administration has committed? When you sit there and go in cahoots with lawmakers to put in quote-unquote legislative projects and get them $11.8 million in 1 year time. But the same Bwaka took a drug test to fight drugs. And look at what happening to our brothers and sisters on drugs. Right? You talk about corruption, gentleman agreement with yellow machines. Right? Where corruption happened the most in government? Concession dues, government asset acquisitions. There where the bulk of corruption happens. It's not, taking somebody's salary and putting it in your pocket. So this administration, if you want to set the example, you have over 1,000 people who have yet to abide by a constitutional mandate. Declare your assets. It is a constitutional mandate. It's not by choice. They didn't say you should publish your asset, but you must declare it. If you publish it, fine. You did all a favor, just like Bwaka did. And the VP did, and Dillon did, and very few other people did. To the credit, Musa Belete did. But folks, you came to office on the mantra of restoring or rescuing Liberia. That you will restore law and order. And the first thing you're supposed to do constitutionally, and you got over 1,000 people in your orbit that have yet to declare the assets. How do you fight corruption, my people?
Okay.
That is the reason why nobody take our leaders serious. You must set the tone. And for this reason, I use my time.
Okay.
Mr. Papa, I think you got to start timing us again.
Yeah. 30 seconds.
All right, Elvis.
Go ahead, Mr. Tao. You got 30 seconds.
Yeah, Mr. Palmer, real quick. There are two things here. I think we need to be honest, and we need to stop being disingenuous to the nation and to the Liberian people, because we are mixing two different things that are completely separate. But first, Mr. Gaza, he disagreed with me, and I don't know why he disagreed. I didn't mention anything about protest. I didn't say that people should not or what. So I only mentioned the president speaking, the former president, only when he saw that there is a corruption probe. So what are they really resisting? They said that over 200 million was removed from out of the central bank money being cashed over the counter. There are all kinds of violations. And the moment they bring that report out, then he gave speech and they're resisting. So if we are Liberians, you're saying our brothers and sisters are dying. This is how they're dying. So for me, I don't think the present government is really serious to fight in the corruption. And I know that. And for them to declare their asset and all that stuff we talk about here, that's something else. But they're starting, let's just say they were serious and they start here. Let them investigate that. So what this will do is, if they don't investigate themselves, if the We Are government come back to power, then it's their duty for them to investigate the Boaka government. Guess what? Once that becomes a pattern, everybody starts straightening up. We're not just talking about investigate, we're talking about investigate, recover, and prosecute, and then actually lock up. So once that becomes a pattern, guess what? Everybody will start straightening up. So I don't see what is really wrong here that they're resisting, because I don't understand what are they resisting. About police coming out. Look, man, I have been in Liberia. Let me tell you something. You don't want these kids, whether it's not about UP or CDC. You don't want these kids that the people are using to come out without any kind of police around to control anything. My vehicle almost got damaged. By both we are the CDC people and UP people, because there was no police around. The kids walking, so the police did not use any violence. Like at the airport, they place a port of entry. All of a sudden, you see a whole.
The police did use violence. They were beating people with batons.
People can go in and out.
Yeah, but Mr. Tao, you asked the question, and let me address it.
Mr. Tao, you have 2 seconds, please. Mr. Gay, please respond to Mr. Tao so we can move forward.
So yeah, Mr. Tao, Article 70 say you can assemble anytime, any day, anytime.
Yeah, but I didn't question that.
No, hold on. What you're questioning is why now people don't want to get in the street. Why they saying they're going to resist? They're resisting. I think Abel put it very well. It doesn't mean they're going to use violence. They're standing their ground, in other words. That's all it is. They're standing their ground. They have the right. They have the constitutional right to do so. And to Abel's point,
what are they resisting?
They were at the party headquarters.
They're resisting. I'll get my chance. I'll respond.
I'm a member of ANC. I'm not a CDC spokesperson. I'm a member of ANC. But let me just say this. What we do in Liberia, that's the problem. We say, oh, I'm law-abiding, but when one person wants to exercise their constitutional right, we suppress them. We infringe on their right. How are you law-abiding? CDC, they are Liberian. They have every right, any day, at any time, to peacefully assemble. They have that constitutional right. Nobody can take that away from them. They have a right to join any political party they want to join.
Thank you, Mr. Gay. Mr. Morris, we'll move to the next topic, and if you want to expound on that later, that's fine. I'm sure former President Weah spoke to the nation, and he laid down exactly why CDC was going to resist. I'll urge everybody to listen to that. It says very clearly what the intentions are. So our next topic here, of course, is our stepchild relationship, stepfather stepchild relationship we have with the U.S. If you all remember, July 26th, Independence Day, the orator was quite dramatic when she spoke about the U.S.
Don't use that word. The woman says she's a feminist, and don't use the word to describe her as dramatic.
I didn't listen to her today. So, but anyway, when she described the relationship, the long-standing relationship between the United States of America in the Republic of Liberia. As a matter of fact, the U.S. delegation that attended that celebration was so taken aback that they chose to walk out. In recent times, we have seen that a new U.S. ambassador has been accredited to the nation's capital, Monrovia, and he presented his credentials to President Boyka. And he spoke of the long-standing relationship with U.S. So I will start with you, Mr. Morris. Based on what you've seen, based on what's his name, McCarthy? I believe McCarthy was, huh?
Oh, the former ambassador. Okay.
McCarthy's approach to diplomacy, and now we have a new ambassador. What do you believe is the way forward for U.S.-Liberia relations?
In the beginning of the show, I recommended that people who are watching this show and who will watch later go and watch Dr. Raptel Pele, interview on the show today called The New Day or New Day. She was brilliant. She articulated her points and she reinforced some of her assertions, the assertions that she made in that speech. And she kind of got me on her side on some of the things that she said. But again, I want to re-emphasize this to us as Liberians. The United States is not an altruistic nation, meaning a nation that is only there to do good, to be a philanthropist or to be philanthropic in their endeavors when it comes to other countries. They're there to seek the best interests of their country. But those of us who live in this country and have an affection and an affinity for Liberia, we kind of intermix those two things because we love America and we live in America. At the same time, we love Liberia. We expect that the American government love Liberia also and they want the best interests of Liberia. It's not always the case. And I think Dr. Raptel said that on the show today that these countries are coming there because they want to do good. She used a phrase, I can't remember it exactly, but I think she used a phrase of like masquerading, goodwill, something, like a country coming to you and bringing goodwill and bringing philanthropy and saying that they're helping you, they're giving you certain aid, but that aid is like not really kindness, it's something else. They have an altruistic, another motive. And that's how countries work. We're in competition with the United States. They're not there to help us develop. They're not there to make us better. They're not there to help us to compete with them. They are our competitor. So the reality is, if you don't go to the table of negotiation with actual, advantages and actual, things that you can show that it will strengthen your point of negotiation, you're always going to get the wrong, end of the deal. And that's what has happened in our country for many years. And I think somebody as smart and as brilliant as she is, she understands that nobody is going to negotiate from a point, from a position of weakness. And the United States is not a philanthropic nation or altruistic nation that they're going to come there and get Liberia the whole store for nothing. So we as Liberians need to understand, anytime we're going to any deal, whether it's from the United States or from China or from India, they're trying to get the most out of that deal for their country and for their citizens. And somebody like herself who has studied these things, one of the recommendations that she made was we should ask ourselves, when the United States say they're giving us aid, $167 million every year, so most of those money don't even leave the shores of the United States. Sometimes it goes to consultancy, sometimes it goes to other things that's happening here in America on our behalf, or other things like that. It don't really actually touch the hands of our government officials. And then the misconception that once we get these money, most of our officials steal the money. She said usually it doesn't work that way because these people are hawkish when it comes to their taxpayer money, and they watch that money very carefully, and it's very hard to steal that money from them if they're donating it. So my point here overall is we have to understand that America is not our daddy. There's no such thing as a stepson, or a stepchild relationship with the United States. They're there for their best interest, and we have to be there for our best interest. And she recommended that when we're getting into some of these deals, we have to have qualified people in the room who are going to ask the tough questions, especially lawyers and people who are studying these things extensively on an expert level, to ask the questions and to give, a recommendation to our chief negotiator, whether it's the Minister of Justice or the president or whoever, on how to proceed accordingly. And most of the time, we don't do these things. We just assume that these people are coming with goodwill and they want the best interest of our nation. So we go into a negotiation already expecting to accept, to accept their terms, because if we think it will bring good to the country, it will help the country. And I think she really articulated. I would fully recommend anybody to go and watch that interview. I disagree with some of her points, the way in which she said it, but now that she's articulated it, I agree with her on some points. But still, I don't think America is America's fault that Liberia didn't negotiate well, or it's America's fault that they benefited more from Liberia than we benefited from that. Some people would term it. I think it's our weakness as a nation and the lack of competence on the parts of our negotiator who negotiate with the United States. If you don't know what you're doing, somebody who is well, adept in these things, they will eat your lunch. So we have to be better and better educated and negotiate better when we're doing these negotiations. Thank you.
Okay, so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Nangbe. Let me come to you there. US-Liberia relations. You know the history. You know where we've come from. You know all the nuances, all the accusations back and forth. Moving forward, new ambassador. What do you think Liberia can expect?
Well, I mean, if we don't change our ways and our attitude, I think we should expect the same old.
Ways and attitudes like how?
Well, first of all, we should realize that diplomacy is about reciprocity and mutual respect, right? America is in Liberia because we have something that they want. They're not just there because they have nowhere else to be. We might as well make the best of their presence and demand that they treat us for what we're giving them. We're not doing that. And so we make it look as if they're coming in and they're feeling sorry for us and they're giving us A and other. No, that is not true. They are giving what they're giving to us because of what they want to get from us. So we have to demand that we be treated based on those terms. That's one. Two, we got to stop stealing the money that they're giving for what they're taking from us. That is part of our problem. We embarrass ourselves. They give us every $5. We steal about $4.99 of it, and nothing happens to people. I mean, the cases abound. That's why they're disrespecting us. There's corruption in this country. Americans, they steal money as well, but they do it differently. You give them 10 cents, they will probably spend about 8 cents of it and do the work and take the 2 cents and convert it. But we do it the other way around. So until we begin to change our attitudes about the way we conduct business, we'll continue to be disrespected. I think that is just fair and plain. I mean, plain and simple. I don't think the coming in of the new ambassador should pretend anything. The lady who was there, Catherine Rodriguez, she was charge of the affairs. She was not a full ambassador. So it's about time that they bring in a full ambassador. I think that's why it's not because he walked out or whatever. No, that's not the reason. Michael McCarthy, yes, he was there. I think he had some service in Liberia. I understand this gentleman who was coming was also a Peace Corps in Liberia. So he knows Liberia very well. And I'm afraid if our people continue to behave the way they do, they will treat us the same way they've treated us. We have to run a serious government. What we run in Liberia, most of it is play. We're not running government. We flaunt the rules. Nobody operates according to any established procedure. No order. You order somebody, then they say you witch hunting. You call for the president to tell you how to account for the money you give them, then it's witch hunting. No. It should be expected that if government gives you funding, you should be expected to account for the money. We don't do that. And so when one president comes in and begins to do that, then he becomes the exception. It's unfortunate, but that is the fact of our Liberian governance. So we need to change the way we do business or continue to be disrespected.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Mr. Gay, US-Liberia relations, accusations of what the US have not done. The US is basically throwing as much money at Ukraine as is possible, hundreds of billions of dollars. Is this because they love Ukraine over Liberia?
They have a treaty that is signed years back, and that treaty they are honoring right now in Ukraine. Look, our relationship with America, just like Elvis said, will only improve if we start doing ourselves a favor, presenting our. Look, Mr. Palmo, I cannot come in your house and redecorate your house without your permission. It is virtually impossible. But the moment I enter your house, I say, "Oh, why are the other picture on the wall like that? Or why a refrigerator in the other corner?" I start moving. You say, "Hey, my man, what are you doing here? Get out of my place." That's the first thing you're gonna do, right? Unfortunately, but most of our lawmakers and even government officials, they don't know what they're doing. They don't understand the importance of having a sovereign nation. They don't know. America is not in Liberia because they love Liberia. Do you know how many CIA operators in Monrovia right now? In plain clothes walking around laughing at these people? A lot of them. They're there collecting intelligence, making sure it's in the best national security interest of America. That's why they will have an embassy over there. They don't have an embassy around the world because they love Liberia and other countries. Everywhere America has an embassy, they have an interest there, and that interest is in the best interest of American national security. America is acting because Russia want to take over Poland.
Okay.
And if Russia, if they don't help, what's the name? Ukraine, Russia will take Poland. So that's the reason why they're doing what they're doing. And they have a treaty signed back in years that they're also honoring. Liberian people, they just think that, oh, Uncle saying here to help, oh, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how much iron ore America brought to Liberia? Did we get the full royalty? Our people don't understand the value of these things. So, whether or not they change ambassador, America, foreign policies is a platform. The ambassador cannot change the foreign policy. It's what Congress articles sign. That's why the ambassador go back. Once it's not in America's national security interest, they're not going to waste their time. Our people need to get up, wake up, and learn these things. Hire experts that understand these things. And I want to recommend follow Dr. Pele. You will find a lot of our videos. You are on a panel in Great Britain, presenting a clear contrast as to how these people need to help our people. The way they view Africa, the way they portray Africa, and the way they hide behind, hand out as though they're helping Africa. You understand? Mm-hmm. Look, they say when you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book, right? That's what these people are doing.
All right, I'll leave it there. You
want to hide something for a brand man? What you can put there?
Again, you will not insult me on my own show. You will not happen. Okay, Mr. Tao, I'm going to give you a lot of free reign here. US-Liberia relations. US working in their own interests. What is Liberia's interest, and how Liberia can work towards its own interest?
Before I even go to that, I'm shocked to listen to Mr. Elvis and Mr. Gay, because the same thing that Dr. Pele, or what the lady name is, said, that is the same thing that I have been putting across and championing here. And I have been portrayed as somebody that is anti-America and all of this stuff, and it has nothing to do with that. Just the same way that the United States is sometimes.
Okay,
that is the same way. That is the same way I'm saying we have to seek our own interest. We are the only people, African people in the world, that we are told that we should not think in our own interest. That our interest should be subordinated to everybody else. I've said here before that because you see, these people come up with all the line, development partners, internet. I've said it here many times, they are not your partners. These are your competitors. Okay. In some instances, they're your enemies.
That's a strong word, but okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'm not just America or anybody. The people that are coming to you, who is your enemy? If they come to you and because they're coming there because you have something that they want, and if you want to protect that stuff and they can kill you for it, they can destabilize you for it, they can disrupt your society for it. Who is that? That's an enemy.
Okay.
So because you see these lines, development partners, international partners. What this thing does to us is that it disarms us. It makes us to not be able to actually look and see. They put a veil over us. So I'm shocked that this lady, because you see, this lady, she gave this speech. I was one of those people that was saying, what did she say wrong? That was so wrong. Almost every Liberian, that platform that I went on, everybody threw her under the bus. Because everybody think that by trying to pamper up to the US or to China or to anybody, somehow it will make them look good, they'll be accepted, and they were saying all kinds of stuff. That the other guy that is on one platform, Carter, I don't know his first name, I forgot. He was the only one that when I look across the whole FOL platform, through all
the name is Gabriel.
He was the only one. Gabriel, yes. He was the only one that tried to say, this lady is right. And he was beat down on every platform. So I'm shocked that now it's like it's been seen because she clarified. But look, guys, look at where this stuff lies.
Clarification.
Yeah, look at where this stuff lies. Liberia is difficult for us to even try to negotiate in our own self-interest.
Why is that difficult?
I did a lot of studies, like when it comes to America or China and these people. The US is a powerful nation that is very aggressive. Okay, who's going to do this stuff? They say we should learn people. The so-called learn people that we're bringing, they are all American affiliates, like me and you. You come from this country, you hold a green card or citizenship, you pledge your first allegiance is to the United States. So just the fact that you go serve in another government, you are already violating. So you have that over your head, and you're going to show up when they want Wologisi, or they want something, and then you are going to go there. You have no point of you have no position. Your position is very weak.
There are a lot of Liberians.
So these are So these are the areas that we find ourselves. So people that will find themselves in this position have to be able to be willing to be penalized and to be ridiculed or to even be punished when it comes to what you call international diplomacy. They want to put it that way. Okay? But if you're trying to save your own butt and your family that you keep here in the US, or the money that you're making here because they can charge you with all kinds of stuff, then you are not qualified. It is on this ground that I have been saying here. The group from the United States, they are not qualified. They're not in the position. They're incapable of leading.
That's a general statement. Don't you believe?
No, it's not. It's not. We are looking at 18 years. Look at the 18 years, including this particular government.
There are a lot of Asian Americans. Huh? Asia is doing pretty well. There are a lot of Asian Americans.
Who?
There are a lot of Asian Americans, but Asia is doing very well.
He's right. He's right in some regards, Mr. Padmore. And if you give me 30 seconds later, I'll articulate it.
Yeah, the Asian Americans are different. They have a structure already that is entrenched ideologically and culturally in there. So they come home, they're not policy makers. They bring in skill sets. And those skill sets, they plant them in places where, like chips, like AI and stuff. I went to school with a lot of Chinese people. Mm-hmm. We all stayed at different labs. When they were done, they went back home. Because if I go, they're looking at me as a guy that would drive it. No, I'm limited. I'll be realistic. I cannot challenge the U.S. interest in Liberia as a person that's been living for 30 years. I'm limited.
I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad that you switched the subject verb agreement to I. Because before you were speaking of a more general statement, and I don't believe that's the case.
In the diaspora. That is what I meant. Yes.
I agree. I actually agree with him, Mr. Padmore. I know you disagree, but I agree with him on that point.
I'll give Mr. Morris 30 seconds. I will publicly disagree with you. I think there are a lot of Liberians who are still very Liberian and who want to see Liberia do better and will have no qualms in presenting Liberia and seeking the interest of Liberia in an honest and integral way. I don't believe that because you sit to a table and demand certain things from an opposing partner or something that makes you somehow there's a threat to your standing or your citizenship of anything like that. By the way, Mr. Morris, let me give you 30 seconds. Go ahead. Where do you agree with Mr. Tao?
All right. The founders of our nation, they put something in the Constitution that precluded people of all other nationalities of being Liberian citizens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even those who are Negro descent. If you want to be a Liberian citizen, you have to drop your other citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that entails that they fear for their national security and you know, in their interest
Mm-hmm.
of the country, that this person may not serve the best interest of our country. And many countries have this. Even in this very country, there's been people who have been, you know, people don't like it because we're generalizing another race or another group of people. But people who are of Chinese descent or people who are of Russian descent, usually they're scrutinized. And whenever they're working in the United States government or in any position of power, they're always scrutinized, not maybe publicly in terms of, you know, verbally, but in terms of their security background and people watching them, because some of these people turn out to be spies for these other countries. You know, we're seeing it with Asian, you know, people from China who turn out to be Chinese spy who was working in the U.S., you know, State Department. You seen it from Russia, people who have been working in this country, even some white Americans who are not of Russian descent, but they turn out to be spies for these countries. So that's just one side of it. But what to come back to what Mr. Tyler was saying is that when you have most of your wealth, when you have most of your attachment to the United States, you have a $300,000 or $400,000 mortgage. You have your kids in school. You have all of your important investment. Maybe you have a few in Liberia, but all of your important investments in the United States. Like most of these guys who come and go work in these big positions who leave the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Is it implausible that they will not maybe push back as hard on the United States? Or if there's a backdoor communication with this person that tell her, oh, Mr. You know, so and so, maybe they met the American ambassador, call that person and say, look, we really need to get this deal done. It's in the best interest of the US foreign policy. We really want to get it done. Let's come to a compromise. You know, that person can easily be compromised because they have some allegiance to the United States. So in that regards, I would agree with Mr. Tower in that point. It's plausible. Not everybody is going to do it, but in many cases, they can be influenced by the United States because they're so attached to the United States. So I agree with that point.
Mr. Namba, I want to expand on this a little bit. Okay. Taking into regard everything that has been said about Liberians going back to America, going back to Liberia, they got mortgage here, they got family here, they got blue book. Looking at the American companies or even foreign companies that come to Liberia and how they basically take away our resources and what they leave us with. Do you really think that asking for more is really that? Yeah. Is it that like is it really an issue? I mean, take for example, Michael Steele, take for example, B. Martin, even Firestone. I mean, asking for more. Do you really think that's an issue? That should be an issue for the U.S. component or even for the U.S. government to have to intercede?
Well, you know, I think there are two sides to this coin. The one being the question you're asking directly. I think the government of Liberia, when these companies come to negotiate, should lay the rules down, and in some cases they do. But yes, you set the benchmarks right for these negotiations. At so and so time period, we expect you to do X, Y, and Z. I was saying B. Martin should have done a lot of this stuff, build schools, build clinics, fix the road. There are a lot of stuff that are in the contract that they were supposed to do, which they never did. The government has not held them responsible for that. So that's that part.
Yeah.
Then there is the social responsibility fund, the financial part of it that these companies gave to the government of Liberia, right?
Yeah.
The management of these funds is also the second part of it, you know, because there are also some assumptions that are made for which these companies agreed to make these deposits. I remember for a very long time the little piece of road between Kakada and Bowmans. I mean, I think Mike, you came from Bowmans. I'm not sure. Elvis. Yeah, that little piece of road remained unpaid for decades, right? Now, I don't know the real story, but it turned out what we heard was that the government of Liberia was receiving the money to pay that road. That the bond mining company was paying the government, and they just refused to spend the money to pay the road. So we have these kind of things happening, and this is where I was saying, when these contracts are negotiated, the government has to be seen also delivering on its own expectations. If the government is not delivering, how do you then think the foreign companies do not become emboldened not to execute? They're watching you. So it's a very complicated, chess match. We have to also stand up. I remember someone said on the show, and all the time we hear that sometimes the donor company will say, you know what, I want the government of Liberia to do so and so, and I will match their contribution, right? And major contracts will be on the line. And those contracts will fizzle away only because the government has not put in their contributing, matching fund. So we have these kind of things happening. But yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
B Mountain is coming to mine the mine in Liberia. The government of Liberia has all right to lay down the conditions. We shouldn't be in a hurry or we're so desperate that these people come, like the Firestone negotiation. No, we negotiate the terms of the contract. And part of the problem with the Ellen government with the 68 contracts and only 2 became is because sometimes we do the dumb thing of not bringing the people who know how to negotiate and cash out these contracts. If you need to go and bring experts, do so. But we write these contracts, we don't understand what we're writing. The loopholes are, they are riddled with loopholes, and people come in and they exploit all the loopholes. We end up getting nothing. But then the little that we get, it gets mismanaged. So we're losing, right? We're getting it from both ends. I think that's part of our major problem.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move on, Mr. Tao. We got one more to go. And we're running out of time. So please, if you want to add something, you can add it before you move forward. No, I'll make you the first one here. And you're absolutely right, Mr. Nangwe. Somebody looked on the Firestone negotiation team and they saw a last name Padmo, and they reached out to me and they said, "You know that man?" I said, "Yeah, that's my brother." They said, "Your brother?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "What are you doing on the Firestone team?" I said, "Because
I know that man. He the lawyer that went to Yale, man. Like your brother that went to Yale, the lawyer, the top lawyer.
Yes. Yeah, he's a Yale graduate, first year, Harvard graduate, second year. Liberia have professional. They didn't want him on that team. So Firestone talking. Anyway, let's move to the final topic here for today, this Sunday. So for our final topic here, the budget has come out, and we are seeing there have been shifting, there have been increases. Budget is law, right? Budget is law. It's an act that is passed, voted on by both houses, where there is differences, there's reconciliation, and then it is sent to the president's desk for his signature, and after that, it is printed into him bill. Budget is law. What we are seeing now is that the original budget, $692 million plus, has grown to $738 million plus. The executive pointing to the legislature pointing to the executive, and everybody threatening everybody. And our country once more, it seems like the common people of Liberia are going to be on the receiving end of this negatively. Mr. Tao.
Yeah. So
the country is going to run on a budget. And the things that are allocated for are supposed to help the country move forward, are supposed to help protect the country and its citizens, are supposed to help to provide for the basic essentials and needs. And now we are seeing things are being shifted unlawfully because they have already been voted in and signed.
Look, Mr. Palmer, I would not do justice. Mr. Waller wants to ask a follow-up. Why your brother was working against the best interest of our country and what he wants us to ask you?
Because Liberia didn't want him to work in their interests. He was available and waiting.
But he should have sat on the sideline because he heard our country with the Firestone negotiation. And he was representing Firestone against Charles Taylor, right? The rubber plant. Yeah.
He represented Firestone. He's been representing Firestone for a while now. Yes. So he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. He's not Firestone's lawyer. He's a lawyer that deals with mining and concessions. And Liberian government know this. And they won't take advantage of his expertise. This is the same thing we're talking about. This is somebody that know the thing.
He commit no crime.
And they won't bring him onto the table because you know what? They won't bring
I just being Sam Wallow puppet. Oh, so don't mind me. I just asking the question. You can ask.
Directly to Sam Wallow. They won't bring him.
Yeah, but
it's because if he comes, he's not going to accept brown envelope. He's not going to accept brown envelope because in the U.S., as a lawyer, if you allow something like that to go on, you stand a chance of losing your law license and your ability to practice. So he won't allow something like that to happen. And because they know he won't allow that, you are not invited. We'll do it ourselves.
Look at what happened here before I go.
I can't believe that man grew up in Liberia. Man speak real serious and very articulate. I heard speaking. Let me give you guys a plug. There's a documentary called Firestone and the Warlord. He's in that documentary. It's about Chancellor and Firestone. Go watch it on YouTube. On Frontline.
We have visited Firestone. He was at the table that day. Most people don't know him. But yeah, he was at the table that day.
Okay.
What happened, Mr. Tao?
So look at what happened here. Real quick before.
Go ahead, Mr. Tao.
Real quick before I go to the budgetary stuff, I just want to clarify 20 seconds of my time to clarify something. Here, we are talking about those concessions. Those concessions, I raised a question here. How do you have a system and you say you have people that are making a law, the legal binding rules of the nation, but these people have no idea of law? These are some of the shortcomings in what we have running as a government. So when you're questioning that how can the legislature pass this kind of bill? How can Yeke Koluba read? Can Prince Johnson read? No. This is the No, all of them, I'm just giving some names here. No, they can read these things, 10,000 pages and 5,000 pages. They can't read those things. Even if they could read it, they don't understand it. So these are the problems here. But not just that. You know that when you sign up and you take any loan or grant from the IMF and the World Bank, you are forced to sign those kind of concessions. They don't give you any loan that is developmental loan. They refuse to give you a loan that will industrialize you or develop you. Those loans are concession loans because you are meant for them to pull out your resources.
But Mr. Tao, that's the only leverage we have is our resources. We don't have money in the bank like other countries. We have our resources.
Yeah. So look at what happened here. How do we talk in the best interest of Liberia on this? Guys, this thing is really simple, right? They come in. ArcelorMittal won the mine or Lamco. Okay, look at what happened here. 100%. Let's do 70-30. Ship out 70% of it. Let us refund 30% here. You're still getting something and let it be joint venture. Because it is through this that you are able to train experts and technocrats in these technical areas. Because then they will have to be trained. You train people in all kinds of technical areas to be able to then work in these factories, to work at the manufacturing areas. Our value to that over time. Guess what? ArcelorMittal decided that they're going to just wake up one morning and leave. Guess what? You have people that have the know-how. Because this is the Asian model. This is how China and other people rule. This is exactly what.
So why are we not doing that?
Oh, we are not doing it. Okay, now we come to the point. You know your brother Sam Wallow is just speaking around. Your brother, he's a regular person. He can choose to work wherever he wants to work. But your brother comes from Princeton or Yale or Harvard. Still does not really mean that he can represent Liberia's interest well because of his strong. That's the same thing. Not just your brother. I'm just giving that example. If he show up on the table and he's supposed to negotiate with HPX, and this is a strong American interest, he is going to bend.
You're impugning his brother's integrity now, Mr. Tao.
Okay, look at what I know he made. Okay, let me
training experts.
He made. Okay, whether he would negotiate strongly in Liberia's interest or the US. But look at what happened here. What happened to HPX? It's not that two of them, whether they were doing something right or But when they just decided to question and decided to hold on, you saw how aggressively they were sanctioned, and immediately they were pushed out. What happened? HPS store was
Mr. Tao, very quickly.
Are the things that we are talking.
Mr. Tao, very quickly. Okay. When bomb mines came to when the German company came to Liberia, right, to invest in the bomb mountains there, right, they built an entire city.
Yes,
that we know today as bomb mines. They had roads, they had hospital, they had hydro, everything. They built an entire city. Lamco, the same thing. Lamco built 2 cities.
Yes.
They built one in Yekeba, they built one in Buchanan. And I can go on and on. Today, when people come to invest in concession Liberia, they live in
it's Cosima. 2 different era, Mr. Pablo.
So my question to you is, if we could negotiate back then.
Yeah. You know why you could negotiate back then? Because
but Lamco didn't build those things for Liberians. They built it for the comfort of the workers.
Live in Liberia. Those people
right.
who made this country live in Liberia. You see, that is one thing. Liberia was
not only because of the comfort of the employees, Maurice, but the lawmaker we have back then.
Yes,
most of them were well educated.
Well educated.
Most of them were well educated.
And they also got kickbacks.
Let Mr. Tao finish.
They got kickbacks. No,
they got kickbacks.
At least that percentage. I was born there.
Anthony, let him finish. That man trying to talk.
They got kickbacks, right? But look, these people lived in that place. Liberia was to the point where they could protect. Look at what happened. If I went to Liberia and I wanted to negotiate against China, to Black China's interest in something that they want to do, or the US or Britain, I have to have something assurance that my country is going to be able to protect me. Go ahead and try, and how quickly the Liberian government will turn you over. Like when the lady gave this speech, look at how quickly even the government, everybody started disowning her at that place. That's how quickly it happened. So people that are leaving from here didn't say know those things. But anyway, but look, the budget, this is what we are talking about, for which we say Bwaka government is not really able to audit anybody or bring anybody to justice. Right?
You gotta go to Mr. Nangwe. He's been quiet for a while.
Because these guys are not doing anything right. And they're not doing it right, not because they're just making mistakes and they're having missteps. No, this is a cold, calculated, corrupt move that they're making. So remember when the budget first went to Congress, right? What happened? The budget number was much lower than the actual money that was in there.
It was 400.
Yes.
Something million.
We put money in there. We are listing it. They're trying all kinds of stuff, so that then when the budget is approved, the money that was not accounted for, they will pull it out. But it was cut. So these are all of the same thing they're doing. So the weird government or from the CDC, they shouldn't worry. The guys are just doing this stuff for them to put few people in position, so they said they can go there and get money too over the counter. Okay, these guys don't have the clean hand for them to prosecute anybody, because every step that they take, look at it. It's just like a small child with white clothes on eating ray or rice.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Tao, you're not easy today. Mr. Nangwe. So like I said before, the budget is law, right? Every spending that the government does has to be appropriated, by the budget, and it has to originate in the House, signed into law, signed by the president, printed the handbills. Now we are seeing the law is being changed illegally, and it's being changed by the witch hunters. What say you?
Hazel and Greta.
Hazel and Greta. So I found out yesterday from my lawyer friend, right? The budget is not law until the president signs it.
Yes.
So that means that also gives the president the right to veto the budget if any shenanigans is going on within the budget that he doesn't like.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna make any excuses for this government. Joseph Boakai is the president of the Republic of Liberia. All this stuff we're talking about, they all rest on his laps. If they're moving $20 million within the budget unauthorizedly, he has the right to put a stop to it immediately.
Yes.
But here we are. This discussion has been going on for almost a week now. He has said nothing. The president needs to come out and do something about it. I agree. We're hearing reports that yes, some reallocation of the budget is happening. Some areas are being increased and certain areas are being decreased. Well, the budget is supposed to fund the president's priorities. The president, drive his agenda.
Yep.
If the budget is being tampered with, that will hamper the implementation of his agenda. He has the right to what? Arrest it with the arrest.
Stop it.
What is he waiting for? What is he waiting for? Why do we have to sit here and wish hunt? And try to go hunting for who is doing it? I'm sure he knows who is doing it. So again, these are some of the problems that this government is grappling with, which confuses a lot of us. There is a lot of expectation that we have for this government, and they continue to fail on each of them every day. From dismissing people illegally, who they gave tenure 12 years ago, because it was this president's vice president when he was vice president, and they created most of the tenure position. So you know what tenure means.
Yes.
They created most of the tenure position to hamstring George Weah, so he couldn't fire some of these people. That's why they give tenure to anybody. So now he comes to the office and he got the tenure people, he's firing them without any recourse to the law. And the courts continue to reverse it and embarrass them. Mm-hmm. So yes, if the budget has been tampered with, the president has the right to quickly take care of it. And I hope he will. $20 million is a lot of money for Liberian economy.
A lot.
A lot. But who knows? We know some $500,000 got spent in Buchanan here right now. We don't know where the money is. Amran said he returned his. So this will come to pass. This is the story of Liberia, unfortunately.
I swear. All right. So, Mr. Morris, here we are. The process is spending.
No, I think you're supposed to go to Anthony Gay before me. Anthony wanted to come in, so I gave him a chance.
This is strange, but okay.
Yeah, no problem, Morris. You want to be the last.
See, I do. Be sorry for. I don't want to step on it.
Mr. Murray being that generous today, I'm shocked.
I'm 30 now, so.
So if you give it a mention, you will not interrupt me. I'm telling you right now. Mr. Gay, we are speaking on the budget here. Monies are being shifted around without, if the president is supposed to sign the budget into law. If the budget gets to the president and he's uncomfortable or does not agree with certain things, he can do a line item veto. But after doing that, he has to send it back to the House for them to vote on it again. He cannot just do a line item veto and send it. The second thing is that the government has started spending. If the government is spending, and they are not spending 1/12. The legislature did not approve 1/12. They approved a budget. Government has started spending the budget. Government is paying employees. They are doing other things, and yet the budget is still changing. What happens here? How do we arrest this situation?
Look, Mr. Pablo, I wish I was a lawmaker today. I was summoned the executive mansion. The lawmaker has the constitutional mandate to put the administration in check. If, why I was clapping for Mr. Namwe when he stated, the procedural process or the constitution, how the budget go back and forth, and then it's signed into law, all of that. I'm glad you were aware of that, and thank you for squarely putting it on the president's lap. But right now, they should not say who changed the budget, who didn't change the budget. The budget was changed by the executive mansion. Mm-hmm. And the lawmaker should already know this. Any serious lawmaker right now, get to work. Draft a letter somewhere in the executive mansion to come and answer a question. This is a violation. A law was signed. Once the budget was sent to the legislature and the legislature did the appropriation and voted upon that law, that budget, the president affixes his signature. His signature is final. If there were 2, you make it 3. You committed a crime. Period.
You broke the law. Yeah.
That is not something to negotiate. If we have serious-minded lawmaker in that house, or in both chambers, this is a both chamber thing now. It's not just the Senate alone. It's about a joint section of the Liberian legislature.
Yeah.
All right.
Will you be sign onto that?
Must address the issue, and they must be punished.
Mr. Gay, will Yombly sign onto that?
Say that one more time.
Will Yombly, the rescue mother, will she sign onto that?
She won't.
Why you calling on the red bus away, Yombly?
Look, that is our problem of Liberia right there. The problem is everybody is in cahoots. You do for me, I do for you, you do for me, and our countries remain the way the country has remained for years and continue to remain this way. Nobody want to be held accountable. Their president already gave them 150,000 for senator and 100,000 for lawmaker. Do you think they'll hold the president accountable? That is our problem right there.
Get me my point.
They cannot hold this president accountable because they themselves, their hands is in the cookie jar. Pablo, it's about time young people like us get elected and set the tone for these people.
Don't put the power in our young people team. I'm almost 70 years old.
You understand?
Yeah.
These people are, look, they don't understand their function. And that is the reason why they talk about, oh, when anybody get in the street, fine. You know what we're going to do? We will pump money into protests so that these lawmakers will be held accountable. Call me whatever you want to call me. Enough is enough. We are sick or tired of this kind of behavior.
Peaceful protest.
We need to be peaceful.
Yes.
But the people must be fed. You can't bring somebody child in the street and be hungry. They must be fed. When they are fed every day, they will show up. As long as there is food, and there is protection, and you're peaceful, people will come. They may be 10 today. Tomorrow there will be 20. The day after tomorrow there will be 100. And the following day there will be 500. The list will go and the number will add up. We're tired of this. If not, it will be worse. They get in 150,000 this year. They're going to get in 200,000 next year, and the following year will be 300,000. What can you do? They want to stay in office. Keep the people where they are, and we are in charge. Are you back?
Okay. Mr. Morris. So we're speaking on the budget. We're speaking on the shifting of monies here and there. And people are calling for the legislature to summon the executive. One of the things we saw quite recently was that the former finance minister Samuel Ditwe was accused of misappropriation, and he put out an expose pointing to a present senator and said, "You'll be harming for $6 million." That man got $80 million that lost on him.
But call the man need American and call me.
Senator $80 million lost on him. If these lawmakers summon the president, should they be afraid that the executive will start pointing to their own eating that in the budget, that hitting in the budget as well?
Of course. Mr. Papa, let me say this. Anthony touched on my point. I didn't want anybody to make that point, but he made it. So I will just elaborate on it. Look, I don't speak Latin, but it's something called quid pro quo, right?
Yeah.
Before you get a quid, and then now they're getting the pro. Mm-hmm. So what you saw, like Anthony was saying, when you saw these guys having lavish budgets and allocations for their little retreat, for engagements and all of these different, that's the quid. Now the pro is the president will have the latitude to put certain things in the budget that he wants, that he deems, just for his developmental, agenda. So after the president has some, hitch when it came to this yellow machine other things that he wants to do that wasn't, allocated in the original budget. Now he's going back and revising it, telling these guys, this is what I want. I want you guys to approve this. And maybe one or two of the, senators who maybe they didn't get what they wanted or not, they're not in that clique. They're speaking up against it, but they're in the minority. I can guarantee you that. The likes of Prince Moyi, the likes of Yumi Kanga, the likes of Darius Dillon, they say they get a key to the president's office. So what does that mean? I can see you anytime you tell me what I want. I tell you what I want, and we both know we have a mutual interest. You give me what I want, I give you what you want, and that's what's going on. This is how our country has been ran for quite a long time. We're not naive to think that this is not how it's done in our legislature.
Just a few days, we're all celebrating Joseph Boyka when he slashed certain things in the budget. I don't know if you remember that. He cut the legislative budget, I think from 66 million to 40 something million. He cut his own executive budget, and the whole country was excited about that. But now, over the past 3 months, we just creep. Now we're back to 700 again. How we got here?
So the legislators were getting 30,000. He cut the budget, but then they get 150,000.
Oh,
so
there you go, Mr. Namo. You said it. Look, I would say I'm a part of them anyway, but I would just say you can't teach crew man how to fly airplane, but you can teach him how to you can't teach you how to boat either. The thing is, everybody know what's going on. The reality is, this is how Joseph Boyka know how to run government. You know no other way. He's not coming there to bring any kind of new ideas. Just how you saw it being done on the door, on the Ellen. This is the same things that he's implementing in his governance style. So the way how Ellen did things, that's how he's doing it. He's not coming with any kind of foreign ideas to implement his policies. The reality is that the president know how to get it done, and he's doing it, and that's how you get it done. Give these guys their corrupt money through the legal means. Once they know that it's legal, they'll give you what you want. And Anthony said, and I'm regurgitating it. The reality is, this is what's going on, and it's going to go on for the next 6 years. It went on the President Weah. When people say, "Oh, the first day they had a budget," why do you think those guys gave President Weah a budget? Because they got kickbacks too, 30,000 here. All the other things that they got every few years. It's the same thing. So for me, I'm not even worried about it. The only thing I want to say to President Boyka is, be even-handed, especially when it comes out to meting out justice. We know our country. For those of us who are in the diaspora, we're somewhat quote-unquote safe, but we have family members and other interests back home. So the reality is, if you don't met out justice safe, you don't met out justice fairly, the country is not going to be safe. So if you want to have a successful presidency, go after the likes of Samuel Tour. I'm not a Samuel Tour supporter. I'm a George Weah supporter. Some bull call us Weah-shin, right? But I support President Weah because, first of all, the affinity that I have for him as a footballer. But I think truly he loves the people. He's a man of peace, like I would like to say. Some people say he's not. But he's limited in other ways. But I think he has a true love for the country. And one of the things that actually disappointed me about President Weah, and I must say this, I'm embarrassed to say it, but he hasn't made a lot of personal.
Wait, let me record it. Go ahead.
He hasn't made a lot of personal.
Same thing.
He hasn't made a lot of personal improvements. And one of the things I was praying for is that had he gone away for the last 6 months or so and really tried to self-improve, especially when it comes to his oration skills, speaking in public. Some people can say, "Oh, it's due to nervousness," or maybe just due to his lack of a deep understanding of the English language. Like I said before, other people try to downplay it. George Weah started speaking French at the age of 16 or something. So if you barely can speak English coming from where he came from, and you try to learn another language, it really messes you up with the grammatical structure of the English language and how to understand it, because you have to understand a whole other structure with masculine and feminine nouns and things like that with French language. So I don't know if he can really at this age fully master the English language, because if he's going to be president, he has to do a lot of public speaking. And it's quite embarrassing how he read out that speech, and I wasn't impressed with it. I was actually embarrassed that he hasn't really improved. Like people like Mr. Nambo and yourself may understand. During Doe time, Doe was quite illiterate when he first got in office, but after a while, the likes of Bob Bala and those guys really, teaching him and coaching him, and he became somewhat acceptable when he spoke. And I was hoping for similar results like that from President Weah. It hasn't materialized, and that's disappointing. I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Joe,
Can I just make
English. I speak in right French. I can tell you for a fact. The same way he speaks the English, that's how he speaks the French.
But my man, some boy can chop in they know how to speak one sentence of French. So learning two languages is always good.
I wanted
He's
to
not
say
very great in
something
French, but you understand it.
about
Go ahead,
what
Mr.
Elvis said about some legislators claiming to have the key to the president's office, right?
Yeah, Darius Dillon.
Yeah, so there is a reason why they get these perks, right? They are the what? The rescue legislators. There is a reason why they get these perks.
Yeah.
The president's perks too will be their ability to drive his agenda through the legislature.
Yes.
For instance, if the president is not happy with the CBL or the report, a lot of us agree is egregious. Don't remove the man when you don't have the power to do so. Then call in your legislator, your rescue legislator, and say, look, come, let's have breakfast. You set him down. I want you to drive this suspension or removal of the CBL governor.
Yeah.
That's what the whole quid pro quo that Elvis is talking about. I believe that's how it should happen. For this, you get all the perks. You can see me anytime I want. Even if I'm sleeping, you can't wake me up. Yes. But now I need your help. I want you to also deliver. Where is that? We don't see it happening.
No. That is not happening. It's not happening in many instances. Really, to be honest with you, it hasn't happened in many instances. Even what, like you said, with the budget. If the president wanted certain things on the budget, put it on the budget and say, Yombi, I need you guys to pass this. And you'll pass that. You know what I mean? But to get the budget, sign it, and then go behind and start doing
how many times we not seen Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer go and have breakfast with the president in the mansion? I mean, the White House.
Exactly. And that is why the vice president has one foot in the executive and one foot in the legislature, because he is supposed to do the president's bidding in the legislature. That's his primary job, to bring those people along. But anyway, it's been a great show. We're going to start our closing. While you guys do your closing, I will just be posting comments on here. But Mr. Tower, go ahead, your closing, Chief.
Yes, guys, this was a great show. I think we actually all pretty much agree on a lot of things that we want our country to be better. But I want to speak to the Liberian people that we should always want whoever stole from us, no matter the condition, no matter their status in society, they should be held responsible. Don't allow people to use you. I don't have proof that the former president personally stole any money, but this is a president that ran a very, very bad government just 6 months ago. I was in Liberia before he came to power. I went back there 6 months, the country was behind almost 40 years. They ran a playboy government. They were all over the place. I didn't stay that far from Jamaica Lodge where his wife was across the place. They were over there all the time. That is all they did. There's a president when the country is in dire position. He left the country for 2 months to go watch his son play World Cup. This is how unserious this guy really was. So if this is not about I love this person, the love for this person should not supersede the interest of the nation and the people. Like Mr. Elvin, maybe a lot of you here don't know George Weah. 25 years ago or 20 years ago, I told my friend that I was in college with, because when I came, that is how they knew George Weah, Liberia. And I told them, I said, the Liberian national team is being destroyed by George Weah. And this is how, yes. He helped in places. But when power opened, when there was a power vacuum, you know what he did? He opened junior professional. Through junior professional, players that were capable of playing for Liberia, he solely held on to tickets on invitational players, forced them out, and started to use junior professional players, putting them in the team. That is how Massa and Mlan and Godfrey Pila and all these people were coming in. And what is the rule in Europe? You must have an international cap in order for you to be sold. So the moment they play once or twice, they were gone. We have sold them. When we are then, his influence in Europe was done, he ended in the Middle East. I was in Liberia. You know what happened? You know that he was black when he tried to become LFA chief, when he tried to do that LFA boss. You know why he was black? Because of that. Once his interest was done, in the middle of the season, He closed down the team, created a complete scheduling stuff. So I'm just telling you, this guy functioned as president the same way he functioned in every area. I have been present. We invited him to prayer breakfast and everything on EWA, where I scrimmaged with George. We had a whole camp where they used to be. He was a very humble guy. He will come as such a celebrity. He will speak to everybody. When the game is about to start, because I'm trying to give you behind the scenes stuff while Liberia did poorly. He always started confusion. Well, who? One of the person was Butcher. He would just come. What J&J is trying to, the person is not playing, the other person is not playing. Before you know, confusion will break out. This is when the team is preparing for them to go play. Just an hour before they go play, a couple of hours. It will be a big whole stop. The team starts playing, people start. Diba was one of the people, coach, am I playing? Say yes, he grab his jersey, he go over there, he be doing his stuff. So the same behavior is what he brought into government. Very unserious. He is not, George Weah is a good person as a person, right? He recognizes everybody. He's a very down-to-earth person, but he is not fit to be in the position to really manage anything, lead anything. So like that in 2029 will cause even more problem. Just like Elvis said, no, he is not going to change this, the guy that said he has been. He is not going to improve. He's just going to hang around, give a little speeches.
I want Elvis say.
Stuff. If he ended at 2029, he will do worse.
And
then for the tears in my eye, but the tears settling right in my eye when I think what you just said with my president general.
Okay, Elvis, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Look, let me say this to us. We all know this, but let me reiterate it. George Weah is a genius when it comes to playing football. That's one thing that he excels in more than any other African player, maybe on the same level of Samuel Eto'o. When you say that he's not serious, for him to go to the levels that he reached in his footballing career, to reach at the very pinnacle. Hold on now. When you kind of give kind of breaking him down, I'm disappointed by it because I understand that we know African and how we can be quote unquote unserious. But for him to reach those levels, he had to be very serious and took the profession very, very seriously. There's something in football called player coach, where you're a player, but you're also a coach or a manager at the same time, and you can manage the team and you make final decisions because you're both a player and a coach. And he played that role in the team during those days where you barely had any coach that would come in that would, that was going to take care of the loans that were pretty much going through war. Charles was in charge. You understand how the government was, and George Weah was the main person that was the driving force behind that team. So yes, he made certain arbitrary decisions because he was a player coach. So what are you're against it for saying this player can play or that player can play? He wasn't in a normal player position. He was in both a managerial and a player position. So you have the right, to make those decisions. But let me say this. When it comes to politics, I may agree with you in certain things that he is incompetent in certain places. And that's where many people feel like those who are more educated and more experienced in some of these, realms would have helped him and brought him along quite easily and had him improve himself, especially when it comes to oration, and understanding politics and being more diplomatic and being more self-confident, because I think that's something that President Weah likes when it comes to the political, scene. He's very charismatic when he's around other football players. Most of them look up to him, they revere him. But when it comes to politics, I think he listens to too much of the chatter of what Liberians say about him, that he can't read, he can't this and that. And he almost kind of have a self-belief, a self-doubt about his ability as a politician. And you can see him when he shines, where he's really speaking to the people in these, downtrodden communities. That's where his full self really shines. And I think he needs to, if he gets back to the president, he needs to bring that more and just talk to the Liberian people, not trying to read these fancy speeches or all the big words that he may not have the wherewithal to really pronounce and articulate it the best way. Talk to the Liberian people in a Liberian way. There's different style of governance. They should go away from the style of trying to be so, articulate and give a grandiose speech. Let's talk to the Liberian people how you talk to them in West Point. Because we can understand Liberian English, but some of us can also understand the big words, but talk to us in that simple way. So, Mr. Taiwo, I think you really did the president a disservice. When it comes to his footballing career, since George Weah was there, we went to 2 African Cup of Nations. I think the last one was in Mali when he went there and scored ahead ago. I remember that game I watched. I think in 2001 or 2003. So George,
2002
we
in
had
Mali.
we had our golden generation on a George Weah. I think before, even since then, it has never been a Liberian team that qualified for any international competition, especially the African Cup of Nations, even World Cup. But never qualified for it under him. But we're very, very close. The closest we've ever been, or probably will ever be. So don't undermine his performance as a footballer. Politician wise, plenty to criticize, and I may agree with you on some of those criticisms. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Gay, go ahead and give me a closing.
BBC described Weah as the player of the century out of Africa. That record has yet to be broken. I don't know if I'll be alive to see another African player raising to that level.
Yeah.
So George Weah signed 2 of my jerseys, AC Milan 1 and Chelsea jersey. I forever owe it to him, that gratitude. Nobody can take it away from him. So ever you squad it, put it right, if it comes to George Weah soccer career. George Weah also is a smart politician. His oration is his challenge. All the smart, educated people we have in Liberia, George Weah was able to beat them to become president in Liberia. People should understand that. Where George Weah was not using the term that whatever just described. Talk to the people the way you know how to talk. George Weah does that. Trust me, it will be very hard for any other politician right now in Liberia to overcome him. Because there is one thing that George Weah enjoys in Liberia that no other politician have enjoyed: the love of the people. When people hear the name Weah, they just take upon themselves, they will print their own t-shirt, they will do whatever they want for him. This election, Waka won by less of 1 percentage point. So don't just sleep on George Weah like that. The only thing here with him that everyone was talking about, he did not work on himself. Is it too late? No, it is not late. It is not late if you want to, He loved the country. He had the wrong folks around him giving you the wrong idea and telling you that we got this. George Weah realized 6 months of the election that he didn't have the country. It was late. These guys lied to him. That is the reason, coming out 1% because of the deception of y'all.
Jelly.
All right? Y'all give a deception to the party. And that is the reason why I will be in Liberia very soon. I don't say I won't bring people cheering, I will not be there. I am a beneficiary of protests. My being in this country, that peaceful protest brought me here. $1 I didn't spend. I ain't round somebody need to come here. Everybody got a story, but me, that protest brought me here. So I can beat my chest for protest. When you are organized and you have focus and you are solution driven, you can achieve anything you want in this world.
Thank you so much, Mr. K. Thank you very much. Before I bring I'm gonna now on comfort David will wrong you, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Tower, what talking to Mr. Tower, Jennifer,
I think you even missed one of because the 2 points that you made have nothing to even do with what I say. I never questioned football. I never questioned his football. I question his leadership.
All right, so
that is what I just pointed out. Not his playing. The comfort David that is talking, she don't even know when he was.
I did recognize that, Mr. Tao. I did recognize that.
I was making reference to his leadership.
Yeah, you were.
Leadership, he provided very bad leadership.
As the captain of the national team.
He carried us to an African Cup of Nations. We haven't achieved that feat since. Yes. Come on, man.
No, okay, so
better leadership would have carried us to multiple African Cup of Nations, even a World Cup. It was just about leadership and not about capability.
If we was to lead and not try to act, you would have. You see, I was present at those times in the late 80s and all the way into the 90s and up to 94, 95, 96. I was present all the time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Howell. Thank you so much, Ms. Howell. There is not something. This is not a debate that we're going to solve today. You know, a lot of people have argued that as good as George Weah was, he was never a captain of his teams in Europe, and you know, and that's the argument when it comes to leadership. But anyway, George Weah at the same time has led the largest opposition party for many years, many years. So we'll see. Like I said, it's a debate that will not be solved today. But, you know,
the way George Weah have control of CDC, show me one politician in Liberia who speaks and a party come to stand still.
So there you go. So, Mr. Nangwe, go ahead and get your closing, please.
No, let me quickly acknowledge that, you know, President Weah, you know, he was a genius on the football pitch, but politics-wise, he not make it. He not make it. So I got news for my sedition and Weahtians. I would channel Alex Cummings. Doing the same thing, expecting different result is not smart. They continue to do the same thing they did, for which Waka is in the mansion today. You know, Jefferson Koji will get up here, even though he was in the city hall, and you know, you're acting that he was the police director, de facto police director. You know, going to the University of Liberia, brutalizing people. You know, they got to bring substance. All that rebel rising and intimidation and instigation would not get them back to the executive mansion. I got news for them. It would not let them anywhere near the executive mansion. Nigerian police, God forbid.
Especially if they're doing it for them to want to block a corruption investigation.
It's okay.
It's not going to happen. Waka is determined. He will prosecute them. If they call it witch hunt, then they are all witches. Let him hunt them down. Bring the people money they stole.
Now, I was hunting you doing top town and a point in the post kill. Don't forget.
But anyway, listen.
But sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, great show as always. Thank you all very much. I think we had a good time. Thanks also to the audience. They've been pretty interactive. Look, I say this current government, you know, I will not make any excuses. I will not make any excuses for this government. There is a reason why Joseph Boakai got in the streets in the poo-poo water, as they say, to campaign, because he wanted to change Liberia. I don't see him in a hurry to do that. It is very disappointing. You know, all these fifth stars, you know, fourth stars he's getting here, you know, he jumped the gun here, then the coach saying him back, go do it right, you know. Why does it have to be that way? Why? Does he not think the law applies to him? He has to work within the framework of the law. You can't get and remove a bank governor because you're president. No, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't. So they need to go back. He need to get his advisors to sit down and read the Constitution inside, outside, and advise him properly. Yes, I agree. The audit report is very damning, and the governor should be, you know, acted upon. But do it right, for God's sake. Do it according to what is prescribed in the Constitution. You're not above the law. Either he's arrogant or he's ignorant of the law. I don't know which is worse.
Arrogant.
So they need to really get their cards right. It's been almost 12 months now since they've been in the mansion. We don't see much coming out of them. You know, it's always one mistake after the other. One mistake, and you know, I don't know when a yellow machine will ever land. You know, all of this stuff that's going on. You know, we're rooting for them because they are the government. If they succeed, Liberia succeeds, but they need to try a little harder. They're being too lazy. They're taking the easy way out, and the easy way almost always turns out to be the wrong way. So we're rooting for them. Let them please hurry up with the rescue mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nangwe. You know, this weekend, I came across this movie. I've watched it before, but I came across it again. It's called Evictors. It's a Nelson Mandela movie, played by Morgan.
It's about the rugby team, right, in South Africa?
The rugby team played by Matt Damon. And I started watching it. I've seen it before, so I had no intention of watching it. But I started watching it, and I was captivated, you know, by how Nelson Mandela made decisions after becoming president, and how it was purposed on bringing the country together. You know, everybody wanted revenge. Everybody wanted revenge. You know, and he saw it from a totally different point of view. And you know, we're talking about protests because 300 members of the EPS were laid off. And we all know why they were laid off. Because they sympathized with CDC. That's what it was. But they are Liberians. Just imagine if the president had stepped in and be like, no, we're not going to lay all those people off. Some people will transfer to immigration. Some people will transfer to the Coast Guard. And we'll keep some people here. Those who are qualified, who are professional, we'll keep them here. This will be a mark to show that this government will not be a government of reprisals, but it will see every Liberian for who they are. And just think about starting off on that foot. And because look at the thing, it disarm you. So tell me now, if Joseph Boakai had done that, what did the CDC will protest on today? They'll have nothing to protest on. You can disarm the people that oppose you just by being smart about how you react to things. You know? So it's amazing. Look, Joseph Boakai still has time. They've only been 7-8 months. He still has time to self-correct and really make a legacy, you know, for himself, for his family, for his name, and really set this country on course. We don't see it yet. It is worrying, it's bothersome, but he has the time. You know, he has the effort. Look, just do it. Just President Boakai, just wake up tomorrow and do it. You know where the leaks are right now. You know what I don't believe that President Boakai was the one that named 2 people to the same position. No. It was recommended to him. And somebody in his office should have said, Mr. President, we can't do this because somebody already here. Somebody dropped the ball. Why is that person still in your office? Obviously, that person is incompetent. Grisby is old. He's not following him. No,
what I got to do anything? Grisby is old.
Grisby old. Grisby old. Grisby work 12, 14 hours a day. This man is almost 18 years old. Come on, really? I hear 15 years old. When I work 14 hours a day, I know how my brain works. 17 years old. Come on now. This is just normal human behavior. It's just normal human, anatomy.
Mr. Palmer, everyone know anything about that too.
That's true. That's true.
No. Yeah? The way how Elvis used to move 10 years ago, he get moved at again.
I beg you. Seriously.
Saying left. You
understand? Sorry, got it back and that's not how much you mean. So, right.
Yeah, so it is when small in college. We used to go party on there. From there, we don't used to sleep set. We used to chill out on the table. We go to class the next morning. And we're operating on 24 hours. Of course, you don't do this anymore. But I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to pick first on Grisby. It's just the president needs to self-correct. If not for himself, for the country. For the country, our country Liberia, Tower talk about how we here. I grew up in a Liberia where people know it's a kind of American and live here. That's the Liberia I grew up in. People in American America get a degree, they go straight to Liberia. And they live in Liberia. We never lived here. What
do you think is changing that now?
Because there's nothing in Liberia to go back to.
In terms of the private sector?
All the infrastructure is done.
Infrastructure.
In terms of the private sector or what?
Infrastructure, healthcare, education.
Yeah, the war.
I don't want to educate my children in Liberia. I don't want to.
Yeah, the war.
I don't want my aging mother. I don't want my aging mother to be in Liberia because guess what? One health crisis, I bury her. So that there's those things. What's the opportunity for me? What's the opportunity for me to do business? Do I have to bribe somebody to do business? The economy is stagnant.
I want there's a time when we got you a deal with everything.
Look at what happened.
You need a Forrest Gump.
The problem that we have is the social economic fabric of society were completely damaged during the war. My uncle that is here in Florida, several of them, 3 of them, they refused to leave Liberia. I remember he was part of Moja He was Chechipo Umapiki and Sawyer, and then he though he was at NRC. So Samuel Doe came up with this plan that everybody working government will have NDP ID card. He was one of those that refused. Due Mason told him, said, "My Peking, look, man, we are from the area. Get this ID." He said, "No, I can't do that. I can't go against my conscience." They used to beat him. So out of that is how he left. Reluctantly left his family behind, and he came to the US in 1986. And he came because he was coming to work so that he can raise money to go back. He went in 1989, brought some money, brought some
to go back to do what then?
To not go into business of his own because he didn't want to.
I thought to go back to move over on that. I want to cool plata.
No, the moment he came back in 1989,
Mr. Morris, I know you.
Don't go there, Mr. Dabo. Don't go there.
No, I just want to tell you that back in the day, going to India for malaria and things was not what was done in Liberia.
No.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, so the war. Who are the doctors we have in Liberia doing this? Liberian doctors or foreign doctors? Like Ghanaian doctors?
Dr. Bolakai, I mean, man, look, Bong Mines, Yekepa, JFK,
Dr. Bromsky,
yeah,
those were all experts.
Yeah,
I mean, renowned experts, surgeons,
experts,
internal medicine. The work people used to leave Ivory Coast, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ghana, come to Liberia to visit JFK.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To visit JFK, that kind of experts behind JFK. But if you can't nurture your productive citizens, they will leave. And when most of these people saw what we did to each other during the war, they left and all came back.
That's what I'm saying. So, what do you think it was that helped those guys to reach that level? Was it the government sending them out to go to school? So our government tried to emulate some of those things that happened in the past, even though there was other bad things, but you can emulate some of the good things. Find talented people and send them out to school and try to recreate some of those successes.
And part of the problem is that it's not just a lack of doctors, lack of equipment, lack of working, conducive working environment.
And pay good money now. You see how the people changing that country?
I think we gotta study our quote unquote head days and so how we gain some of these success, because some of these success, most of these successes that you guys are talking about was brought through concessions. Lamco, the Bommy Hills, most of those was brought through the concessions. So that's why probably we should try to do the concession thing.
No, but JFK was a real class hospital. JFK was a real hospital.
But even JFK, Mr. Nambwe, I would say this: we didn't build JFK. It was a gift to us, right? That was built at the time a state of the art, hospital in Africa that was given to, I think, by the American government. I don't know if it was Kennedy or his successor.
You were saying foreign hospital, the Bomai hospital, but I'm saying JFK was a real government hospital run by Liberian doctors.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is it was given to us as a gift and built.
It was ran for a long time under the Liberian government.
Yes.
I remember driving into JFK and I would see the water fountain. You know that big open plate in front there?
Yeah.
That looking at that full of there?
I used to go to school in that district. I used to walk by there.
Just by entering JFK, if you were saying you already feeling.
You already feel okay.
You already feel
But now we go there.
But right now, JFK is a death trap.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Tower. What you said?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Tower. You got 30 seconds so we can leave.
Yeah, Mr. Morris. So look at what happened here. It's not just about them sending people to school. The government at that time had actual development plans to some extent. Okay, so if you are lacking engineers and you want all people that manage forestry or people that manage certain areas in petroleum, so that's how you train the people. And when they came back, the public sector was also very strong. There were private businesses all over the place. We made corrugated sheet like the zinc and stuff we use, iron, all the stuff, steel rod for you to build. Everything was domestically produced. and the infrastructure was in place. So that, okay, let's just take for example, I'm here. I've been working on some projects that I'm trying to do. What it would take just to generate the power over a certain period will be about $1.5 million if I want to set up that manufacturing facility, just power generation. So that wiped me out.
Yep.
Okay.
I always spoke
So
up.
that's difficulties.
You gotta go. I think there's a guy in the chat like watching us grow our time.
I didn't see. Don't worry about it. I didn't see. So you guys, I'll close out. But gentlemen, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Us, even though we're over time, they stuck with us. I think they enjoyed the conversation. That's one of the things I love about On Point and Focus on Liberia is that we always have intriguing conversations. I will end with this. I told a very young guy in Liberia. I said the places that are named in Liberia, they're not named just their names mean something. So when you hear people talking about shoe factory, you hear people talking about chicken soup factory, you hear people talking about, I said those are actually factories that existed in Liberia and hired Liberians before.
Yep.
Who own those factories?
Go on YouTube and tap the industrialized Liberia. You'll see all the article factories that we have that were ran by Liberians.
Stephen told me only other factory, my man. Not even good like that.
But thank you guys so much.
All right,
guys. We also can do these things. That's all.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. If it's Sunday next week, join us. Thank you so much, Mr. Namwe.
See you, Mr. Padmo. Thank you.
We are Liberia.